What's up guys, my name is Josh and today I'm going to be showing you how you can optimize your WordPress site so you can make it a little bit faster and it delivers faster to the person that you want to show it to, obviously. Now there are several things you can do. A lot of this is Google PageSpeed Insights kind of stuff. So it's like optimizing your images, it's compressing style sheets, it's going through browser caching. So I will explain all this for you in this video. So to get started, actually, go onto your site and go to your dashboard. So in this case, I'm on my dev site, which is on my local machine. A lot of these changes I will do won't actually affect this machine locally because it's delivering on a local site, so it doesn't really make a difference. But in this instance, it would work on your site that I'm showing you. So the first thing you need to do is get logged in, and let's just go through checking some of your site just to make sure you know what other things could be slowing your site down. So the first thing you go is go to plugins, install plugins. Now, have a look at your plugins. Do you have more than 20? Do you have more than 30? If you've got more than 40, then something is really going off. I'd be careful not to just keep installing plugins because the less is more, really. 40 plus, you're mental, something's wrong, you need to obviously reduce that a lot. 30, again, still quite a bit. 20 odd, it's still a lot, but you know you can still run it. I mean, you can run the WordPress site with an ultimate amount of plugins. Well, let's be fair, you can't run like with 1,000, but you know it will run. It'll just, you can install as many plugins as you want, but just be careful. So install maybe like less than 20, and with those 20, are they all vital? Do they all serve a purpose? Do some of them serve the same purpose? And if they do, remove the one that you don't like as much. Like if you add two versions or two SEO plugins, and I know some people use different SEO plugins because they have different features, but again, you know, you don't need two, just use one. One's good enough. You can do all the other amendments, I'm guessing, through the plugin itself, or just Google it. Right, it'll only be like a little code snippet that you need to actually make it work the way you want. So yeah, check your plugins, make sure there's no plugins that that serve the same purpose, don't use, you could remove. Also make sure they're all up to date. Now be careful with obviously plugin updates, as plugin updates obviously can bring their own problems if you think about it. So always take a backup of your site prior to installing plugins, updating plugins, or doing anything in general that you think or believe would cause something, you know, to happen. So it's best to be safe and to have a backup ready. So the next thing we can do is go to our themes, and I like to delete themes that I don't use and themes that, you know, come with the package, because you got 13, 14 and 15 usually on here by default. So I delete them so I know for a fact exactly how many themes I have, and so I'm not shocked when I go into it next time and think, oh, why is the 6 themes? It's like, oh no, oh yeah, I do remember now because I installed 6 themes. So delete them. It doesn't make a difference, I'll be honest. It doesn't. It's just purely just to make, you know, clean up a little bit. All right. Now, the next thing you can do is, if you have a lot of product images, which I assume a lot of you will have, then it's best to you can get plugins called image compressors, which do exactly what they say on the tin. They compress your images down in smaller file size so that, you know, it loads faster. But in doing that, the quality of the image does decrease. I've noticed it with some plugins. Like, I'll show you one for instance. I've had quite an issue with WP Smush, and that's just not me having a go at WP Smush. It's just I probably haven't configured it correctly. But there are several image optimization plugins that you can use. Or just put image. There we go. So you've got WP Smush, you've got EU Image Optimizer, and you've got Short Pixel Image Optimizer. They all serve the same purpose. They will all compress your images. But I always tend to compress my images prior to uploading, because If you compress your images prior to uploading, then you know for a fact that the images on the site are going to be compressed from the start. So you don't have to worry about having to give WordPress an extra job and compress the images for you because you were either too lazy or just didn't have time to just compress the images. It doesn't take that long, honestly, because once you've got a PNG or JPEG image, just type in Google compress PNG or JPEG, and I usually use compresspng.com or compressjpg.com, whatever your preference. Then it's drag, drop, compresses it, pull it down. They've got little settings in here as well, so I can just show you an example. Actually, let's just pull up a random photo. Hopefully a note major. There you go. That one. Oh, sorry, wrong format. I'll switch to a JPEG to compress that. There we go. So I'm going to upload that, and it's going to compress it for me, and then I now get a compressed version. Now there are settings. So settings, how has it done it? Well, it's decreased the color ever so slightly just to compress it a bit more. But you can adjust it. Go all the way down to 80. It'll then recompress this for you. So click apply. It'll then recompress, and it'll go a bit further. But again, the lower quality, the less quality, the worse off your image is going to be. So be careful when you are using image compressors that they will obviously compress your images and ruin the quality. So be careful. Now, the next thing we can do is install a caching plugin. Now, a caching plugin basically serves static HTML files to the user who's viewing your website, which is good. It's basically takes a snapshot of every page on your website, puts those snapshots in a folder, and then when a user comes to your site, it serves that user with a snapshot rather than a version of the live site. Now, this is incredibly useful because those HTML files are really small, and they can be served much faster than actually showing your live site. Now, it is very useful. It does help dramatically in some cases when obviously you've got a really slow site. So for this one, let's call it Super Cache. You can use whatever. There are several available: WP Total Cache, Super Cache, Fastest Cache. They all serve the same purpose. Auto Optimize. That one's quite good because that minimizes your JS and CSS style sheets via the plugin. But I will show you that manually later on. So for now, we're just going to install Super Cache. May have your preference, but I personally just install it's a featured one, so I'm not really that bothered. As long as it does and serves the purpose, that's fine. Eventually, there we go. Okay, so super caching is disabled, so you will need to actually enable it to get going. Caching on and update status. Now that is not just it, right? So don't just obviously click that and away we go. There are several things that you can do. There are more options. So go to advanced, and in advanced we have compress pages so they're served more quickly to visitors. Yes. Don't know why it was never selected before. Don't cache pages for known users, i.e. us. So if we're logged in and we make a CSS amend and for some reason we don't see an effect on the front, that's because we're getting a cached version of the page. And we don't want a cached version. We want to see exactly what is the site as it is, because we're making amends. We want to see those amends instantly. So we check that so it doesn't cache it for us. Not modified browser caching indicates when a page has not been modified since it was last requested. Not quite sure what it means, but I usually check it anyway because it's recommended. What could go wrong? That's funny. Recommended. Extra homepage checks very occasionally stops homepage caching. I'm guessing that's used in case, for some reason, if your homepage changes quite frequently, then that would be quite useful to have on. In case for some reason your live version of the website doesn't seem to be showing what the cached version is. So you can update that status. CDN, Content Delivery Network. This basically goes and hunts in your themes, in your WP content directory, and finds any source or any script that is being hosted locally, if that makes sense. So if you've got jQuery in your theme and you're delivering that each time when what's the word? Well, when you install your theme, you've packaged jQuery with it because your theme may use jQuery, obviously. So to obviously make your website faster, CDN looks in your theme directory, finds the directory linked to your JS file, removes it, and puts in a outsourced version of that. So it'll load JS externally rather than your website, your WordPress site doing it for you, which is good because then it takes less stress off our server from loading files like JS scripts that it doesn't need to, because we can have the CDN network do it for us. So we click Enable CDN Support and click Save. Okay. Now, that's pretty much it for the back end, because now your site is running, it's still running, everything's running smoothly, so that's all good. The next thing we can do is compress your CSS and JS style sheets, and scripts, sorry. So what you need to do is you need to go into your FTP editor, go to the root of your WordPress directory, so you've got WP content folders and the rest of the files. So what you're going to do is that we are going to go and compress the style sheets and JS scripts in my theme. So my content, theme, my theme, assets, and CSS, which is main CSS, which is this one here, and JS, which is scripts here as well. Okay, so the first thing first is that it would be advisable to always take a backup of your script files and duplicate them and just call them _back, so you know for a fact that's a backup, so you don't have to worry about if you make a mistake or anything like that. And then go to compress JS, and pretty much go into your scripts. For JS file, obviously go compress JS. For CSS, go compress CSS. So just copy everything, paste it in there, and it will give you a compressed version which you can then paste in there. Because the smaller the file, the better, the quicker that file gets delivered to that user, the faster the site loads. So that's all. It's all about speed. Speed all the time. Main CSS, same principle. Go to main CSS. So go to CSS compressor and copy, paste, and it will give you a compressed version. Obviously, do be warned that if your style sheet is rather large, which in this case, this one is only about 8,500 lines. So when you copy that and paste it, it's going to take all the white space out and put it onto one line. So that one line is it's going to be rather long, and it's going to take a minute for your computer to actually copy and paste that. So do be careful. If your computer freezes, just give it a minute. It'll eventually get there, and you'll be able to copy and paste. Okay. So once you've done that, save it and just reload your site to make sure obviously nothing's broken or nothing's gone wrong. If for some reason you have got a CSS error, or your styling doesn't look quite right, make sure that you obviously have copied everything in your style sheet and you haven't missed a comma or a space or anything, because those commas can be a bitch. So any missing comma or semicolon out of it, it goes mental. But obviously, when you're doing this style sheet, if your styles are in this style sheet, do not get rid of these lines here, because these lines here are required by WordPress, so it understands that this is a style sheet, or this is a theme, and it needs this. So if you remove that, WordPress doesn't know if it's a theme or not. So it's best to just leave that in and just compress everything from end of the comment downwards. Okay. Now the last two things we can do are browser caching and defining the memory. So for the browser caching, you need to go to your root WordPress directory, your HTTP access file, and I've already done this, and paste in. This is what you get by WordPress by default, but this is all the caching. This basically sorts out your browser caching for Google PageSpeed Insights and changes all the files to make sure they basically change the time of which they last for before before someone has to come back and recache that image again. So I put it all plus 1 year, plus a month, 600 seconds, but it's all roughly a year. Mod gzip, basically do that, compress my certain files so it delivers better. Mod deflate, again, deflate certain files so it delivers faster. So be careful, obviously, if you get a 500 error when you paste that in and for some reason it doesn't work, just take out little bits and just see what actually was causing it. It's not really best practice, but if it works, it works. And the next thing you can do is go to WP config and define your memory limit. So this is your how much memory you want WordPress to use. So in this case, I only want WordPress to use, if my hosting has 512 megabytes of RAM for me to use, then I might say, yeah, all right, then I'll put it up at 512 megabytes, so it uses all the RAM. But don't obviously go over the limit. Don't go over 1024 megabytes, which is the gig, if your hosting only has 512, because it's not going to work. It could cause problems, and just obviously go to the max that you can do, but obviously within reason. It's like if I was running 2 WordPress sites and I only had maybe a gig, 1024 megabytes, split between 2 websites, and I would give each one maybe 512 megabytes, just so it doesn't, so they've each got equal amounts. But some might need more than others, so you might have to have a fiddle about. But just be careful, obviously, what you change. And if you need to remove this line, then you can just erase it or just comment it out like that. That works a charm. Okay, so save that, and everything should just run as normal. Okay. So thanks very much for watching, guys. This is a video on how to optimize your WordPress site. If you enjoyed it, let me know in the comments. If you didn't, also let me know in the comments so I can improve and make a better video. Meanwhile, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what else I can do. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.